If you're building your ABA company and you're tired of guessing, this is for you. We built the EBCBA blueprint to give you real structure, systems, and support without the fluff. Details are in the description.
Welcome, Breann. Everybody, we're here with Breann Gonzalez. She's from MYABAMENTOR. And today we want to talk about basically the whole life cycle from you get your certification, you pass your boards, and you're walking into this new world of being a BCBA, and you're going to have this long career. If you can prevent the burnout and stay in the field, this is something that you guys are going to be spending a long time in. So a lot of you that are watching this, maybe you're in the middle or towards the end of your careers even, but we really want to talk about that entire life cycle, especially for people that are just getting some early intervention, I guess you could call it, on your ABA career, and make sure you're starting off on the right foot. So Breann, welcome. Thank you for coming today. What do you see the typical ABA career? What do you see as like a few of the major startups, like starting off in your career? What are some of the mistakes that happen that kind of lead to problems later that could be avoided?
Sure. So I think that there are several areas in our field that, as part of the evolution of the growth of the field, we have seen more people coming to understand their limitations, I would say. And what we do as in my ABA mentor is really we want to focus on closing some of those gaps that people are experiencing. And when you first start out as a BCBA, you are excited and you are ready to rock and roll with your families and with your kids. And then you come to understand that your role as a BCBA is much wider than what I think people anticipate, and which leads to a lot of challenges long term. And so you get into your first client and you realize, okay, I am now the point of contact for this person. I'm responsible for having all these different conversations, these professional conversations, these emotional support conversations, and that you're that person that they are leaning on. And you're not really prepared for that level of professional interactions just being a BCBA. And that is your first interaction with families, your first interaction with professionals. And a lot of times I see people stumble and fall and then realize, oh, wow, I really need to do some more training. I really need to get myself professionally prepared for what this job really entails, which is so much more than just going in and doing your programming and writing beautiful treatment plans, which is all really important, but there is a lot more that people need to have experience with, and coaching and mentoring through all of those things.
Could you share some examples of that, like clarify for us a little bit? What are some things that kind of blindside some BCBAs going into their first position?
Yeah, the first thing that you're tasked with is the communication with the parents. Where you say, hey, here's your new client, and here's the parents' information, and you may be responsible for scheduling. You may be responsible for getting those services started. You might be responsible for making sure that all the auths are in place, the little things that school doesn't necessarily teach you. And then you're given a phone number and a name and a client file, and they say, okay, go start. And a lot of times, as a new person, that would be pretty shocking. And I've been in the field for a long time, and I would be terrified, if that was thrown at me. And I was like, what is the first conversation that I even need to have? I have to go have this parent meeting, and what is it that I say? What is the topic of this meeting to set this person up for success? And there's not a lot of support there in that respect. And it's a real challenge for new people.
It's like that in a lot of different industries. And it's the same thing for ABA owners too, right? When you're a BCBA and you're doing all these, you've got all this experience, right? You've been a BCBA for 10, 15 years. You know exactly what you're doing. You're getting great results. And Then you decide I'm going to go out on my own and start my own business. And then you get hit with, oh, I got to file my taxes. Like, how the heck do I even do that? But it's all those peripheral things that tend to drag us down in any position. But it's going and getting your pilot's license, and you're an airline pilot. Well, they teach you how to fly planes in flight school, but they don't teach you how to deal with passengers. So they're really, but when you go to work for an airline, they have their own training on how to handle those situations and how to do those things. From the owner's standpoint, being able to offset some of that new inexperienced BCBA first day, first year jitters, and having that training in place and really having good policies and procedures. But a lot of ABA businesses that new BCBAs are walking into aren't going to have a lot of that. So what do you suggest for new BCBAs that are going into the market to prepare themselves for that? Is there a good program that they can start off with that would give them some resources to warm them up to that?
Yeah, we have our residency program that is designed to fulfill the 2,000 hours and for that student. And it's not just for necessarily for students, but it's also for business owners, because this is a two-sided problem. That when I was a clinical director and working with students and building out this program and really taking the time to understand the student, not only my own experience, but what they are experiencing, and really formulating a path of success for that. And you don't know what you don't know at the end of the day. And when you are a brand new person, you say, okay, I want to be a BCBA. In our field, there's not a whole lot of regulation around what that experience looks like. We have task list items and everybody's checking the boxes on all the task list items, but that doesn't mean that there is a unified level of professionalism and level of expertise around this training and around this mentorship. And one of my goals and our goals as a company is to raise the bar on that experience in support of the students who say, hey, I don't have a supervisor, I don't have access to a supervisor, or maybe I can't find a supervisor who's willing to take me. We can be accessed through that avenue, but then we can also work with small business owners who, like you're saying, is okay, I'm wearing 50 hats, and how can I dedicate the time and energy and expertise to really give my own employees or my own students the experience that they need in order to be that level of professional. And that's a serious challenge. And it is part of the evolution of the field that I feel that we need to go towards, and being able to raise the bar on having our individuals ready. And so for those people who are saying, wow, I want more, or yeah, I want to support my students and I want to be able to produce really high quality BCBAs and high quality professionals, that's the service that we offer for the student and business owner on both sides. And yeah, so we're happy to take on students and happy to partner with other businesses who are looking for that solution.
Awesome. So you can actually set up the programs for the mentorship and the residency through the business. So when they have new students coming in, they can plug them right into you guys, and you're helping to coach them along the way.
Yeah.
It's got to prevent some level of burnout, because a lot of the people that I talk to are frustrated, either people getting into the business or people that are getting out of the business. We had one of these talks not long ago with somebody who was in the ABA business and left just because of the absolute burnout. And a lot of it was what you're talking about, being frustrated, not knowing what to expect, having this unpredictable schedule and not really knowing how to navigate or manage themselves. Humans are not good self-managers, period. We're not just born with this concept of understanding self-accountability and self-reflection, all that stuff. That's a learned trait. Those are skills that are learned. And yeah,
100%.
I'm going to be 41 in a couple of weeks, and I'm still not good at it. But but yeah, that's fine. I think, yeah, the mentorship is definitely a good approach to that too. So tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about your actual programs. Like, how do they work for a business owner versus how does it work for a student or a new BCBA?
Sure. So it's fairly similar. It just depends on how the student gets to us and what the structure looks like. So for the student who is looking for someone, we take them on, it's a 24-month program. And what we have done is taken pretty much everything that we know as BCBAs and running clinics and all of those things and compacting that into this dual program. So we have online courses that cover things that are on the task list, as well as the things that are off the task list that you need to know. And then we also host one on one mentorship meetings and group meetings to fulfill the 2,000-hour requirement. I think that the real golden part of the program are the things that are off the task list. And learning all of those things in your university program or wherever you're going to get your schooling is going to cover a lot of those things, like just theory and the vocabulary and all of that stuff. And then you come to us and we're going to help you practice what does that actually look like in real time. And we start with day one, we're learning about what are we reviewing records? What are we looking for in the records? Or what does a record look like? What does a psychological evaluation look like? Maybe you've never even seen one. Maybe you don't know some of the language. You don't know the diagnosis information. If a kiddo comes with two separate diagnoses, what are you looking for? How does this present itself? How is this going to affect your programming? And going through all of those micro steps one by one so that when you are out on your own, you will know, okay, I have this new client here. I know exactly what I need to do. I know where to look. I know what to read. I know who to communicate with, and really setting that student up for success. And then, in addition to just those daily tasks of what you're doing as a BCBA, you also need to do a lot of personal and professional development that I think that our field is just blossoming into, that I have been watching over the last several years, where people are realizing oh, there's skills that I don't have that I actually need to do this job. And I personally, when I have been watching the progression of the ABA field, I think that the PE push that we experienced really opened people's eyes to wait a minute, there's business people out there that know what they're doing and I don't know what I'm doing. And another echelon of business professionals that were had an example for, to say, oh, okay, this is how you host a meeting. That's one thing that we talk about. How do you have an effective meeting when everyone knows what they're doing, knows what their responsibilities are? You're directing and leading the conversation and being the expert and being the professional and relaying that to the people who you are talking to. And a lot of those skills just are completely absent in our training. And the only way that we're going to push the field into another echelon of being a professional is by instilling those skills into our students and into our BCBAs. Because at the end of the day, we want people to say, wow, ABA is great. And this is why. And you have all the skills, you have all the knowledge, carry yourself well, you are a professional, and that communicates a sense of authority of I know what I'm talking about and I know the best interest of your child and I'm here to help you. Please let me help you. you
Amen.
know.
No, and you have a solid point with the private equity stuff that's going on, because, and I talk to a lot of people that are in the industry, and I'm not a BCBA, And I get some criticism for that. They're like, well, why are you doing this if you're not a BCBA? There's a lot of different roles that can assist in any industry. So
Right.
you don't have to be a dentist to know stuff about running a dental business. It's important that we have people from outside of the industry that are involved with it and influencing it. And
Yeah.
the private equity push, as you referred to it, is not going away. And if you want to offset that as an ABA owner, there's a couple things that you can do. One, you can, well, first, let's circle back and talk about private equity and why they are where they are. Private equity has finances behind them because they know how to run businesses, right?
That's right.
So they're super focused on customer experience. They are going to have number one, image, right? Their front side image with marketing and all that stuff. Behind that, they're going to have excellent customer experience, generally speaking, right? They're going to, and I'm making some universal statements here, but their image and their marketing and their customer experience is going to be ahead of the pack, light years ahead, because that is what they are trained for. Their quality of care is likely never going to reach the level that a BCBA with 15 years of experience goes out and starts something on her own because they want to make a difference in the world. They're going to have better quality care. So you can either thumb your nose at them and say these guys are garbage and they don't know what they're doing, or you can learn from them. And the one thing that we all need to learn from these private equity monster ABA companies that are gobbling everybody up, the one thing that we can learn from them is how to be profitable. Because if you're profitable, your business will be successful. You will be able to stay in this business. You'll be able to hire staff, keep staff, and you're going to help more people. You're going to have a better impact on society. So this is something I preach all the time. You can be a caregiver and you can be mission driven and make money. You can be a caregiver and a profiteer, because if you're Mother Teresa with $1 billion, you're going to be able to help a lot of people. So that's my sermon for the night. But
and when I was going through this growth process and really thinking about, wow, what do people really need to know? What do I not know that I really need to know? Even with training, and it didn't matter, what it was. Right now with my ABA mentor, that's our primary focus, is on the students. But I had to go out and look at other industries and say, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And what do we need to be doing in order to improve this system? Because ABA is great. ABA is amazing, but it's not amazing if we don't have the processes and the systems in place to make it amazing. And so when I started putting this training together, even just for these brand new BCBAs, I had to go get information because there was no information in the ABA space. No one was talking about how to effectively communicate or how to have tough conversations with parents when the parent is crying and you have to tell them really bad news or whatever it is. And there just wasn't resources out there. And I don't feel that I feel that there's some more resources, but I don't think that anybody is really talking about what we need to be talking about in order to raise the bar on the ABA field, period, across the board. And as our mission, starting with what do students need to know to be able to hit the gate running and know that they know exactly what they're doing and that they can effectively do their job. And what are those things? And how do you be a supervisor? And I have been putting out little mini trainings on our Facebook and our YouTube channel. And one of the videos that I just put out was like being more than a supervisor. And yeah, you go out and you are working with your RBT and you're doing behavioral skills training, which is the data way to do it. But what if your RBT lacks confidence? What if your RBT doesn't understand what you're saying? What if they learn in a different way? How do we become effective mentors at the end of the day? Because we are setting the example of the future generation of BCBAs. And I don't think that people have really understood that this is what's happening. So, what we're doing and what we're teaching is what the next BCBAs are going to do and going to teach. And what knowledge do we need to spread, and what insight do we need to spread to the field in order to level our field up? And what does that look like? And that's where I had focused all of our resources and knowledge into creating this system of getting our people where I believe that they need to be for the next phase of that.
So you're taking what works and
Take what
proliferating
works.
it out there, disseminating it out to everybody who
Yeah.
hasn't experienced yet, and that is the true spirit of mentorship. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for being a part of the group, and thank you for coming on and doing this talk with us. Really appreciate it. What is your website? How do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can just go to myabamentor.com and you can see all of our information there. There's a couple of videos, there's a webinar that you can watch, and then it has all the information about our program as well.
We'll make sure we share the link in the description of the video. So awesome. Thank you, Breann. Really great meeting you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're already doing the work, investing your time, your energy, and your vision. So let's make it count. Build something that works without breaking you. The EBCBA Blueprint is the way. Get started for free with our foundation course.